My name is Ronan McCool, and welcome to this franchise discovery time with us. And, really good turnout that we've got this afternoon, and really looking forward to going through a little bit about who we are and what we're about as a commercial cleaning company. So just starting off with first, I think I'll just explain a little bit about the cleaning sector. If those of you that are considering looking at getting into business for yourself, but not by yourself, and looking at the franchise option, certainly looking at the franchise in cleaning is not a bad sector to be involved with. It's one of those few industries that the moment you provide the service, it becomes obsolete because dust will always come back, so that you need to come back again and clean the places that you've just cleaned. So where do we find our clients from? I think if you did a drive today through where you live to the place where you're at now, you would have passed a myriad of businesses, be it in the hospitality, in the commercial sector, in logistics or car showrooms. In fact, any business that's out there is a potential client for you. And so there isn't a market that's shrinking. It's a market that's actually robust. And the commercial cleaning per se is actually a resilient, inflation-proof, also recession-proof. So you're in safe hands by choosing this. When you're considering looking at a business, for example, you want to pick a business that is scalable, profitable, and is easy to manage and doesn't overtax you too much, because life's tough enough with having a difficult business to get involved with. And there are other opportunities out there, like in the care sector, for example, where it is a very steady business as well to consider. However, there's a very strong overreach in government compliance that you need to fill in forms, up the yin yang, and it's not necessarily for everyone, but it might be for those who like filling in forms. I prefer making money, but that's just me. So anyway, let's move along and look at what we're talking about in the skill sets that are needed. Certainly, with the work that you guys have done in the military and what the training that you've had, discipline is one of those things that you certainly need in business. The discipline to follow through and do what you're meant to do. And in business, simply put, that is your main role in owning and managing a business, is that you go out there each day to try and add more revenue to fill in the top, so that it feeds the machine and makes you profit down at the bottom. So that is the one thing that you need, is discipline. The other things that you need is the tenacity to prevail. It's to be able to overcome problems. It's to be able to have leadership skills in managing people. And then it's also to have a servant's heart, that you are in search of excellence in the provision of the services that you provide. In our business, that is obviously, we're only as good as the last clean that we do. So those are the types of skills that we need. Does anybody start off wanting to be a cleaner? Probably not. In fact, none of us want to be where we end up. We don't plan to be where it is. I was talking to someone the other day about Usain Bolt and how he managed to become the fastest runner in the world. I don't think that when he was 4, 5, or 6 that he was wanting to be that type of person. But when he started to compete in a couple of competitions, he started winning those. And that feeling of winning was something that urged him on, to the point where, as he became a teenager, he was recognized as being the best runner in Jamaica, under 16, under 20. And so that urge to succeed and win became prevalent with him. And what did he do? He went out and found out what it took to be the best. And he took all of those disciplines and implemented them into his daily life. And it wasn't that whoever was coaching him could run faster than him. It was that coach was telling him of all the ingredients that you need to put together in order to be that successful person. The other thing that I can add is that I used to run faster than Usain Bolt, believe it or not. He was 4 and I was 34. So there you go. But, so there's an opportunity for all of us. And certainly within Total Clean, we put all of those ingredients together to allow you to focus in on what you need to do. And that is to recruit, retain, and manage quality clients. And in parallel to that, you need to go out there and also retain quality staff that you feel comfortable with, that you've trained on how to do what they're meant to do, that will be able to repeat that task on a daily basis. And, it's no more difficult than that. But it's hard to put those disciplines, once again, I'm using that word discipline, in place so that you've actually got a business model that makes sense, where you're not, you haven't bought yourself a job, but you actually have got a business that you're running. And that's what we're talking about, that scalability, where if by adding another contract, you're not diminishing on the service that you're providing on the other, but that you're able to deliver equal service of excellence in every contract that you add, because it's the people that you employ, it's the training that you provide, and it's the systems that you have in place that we show you on how to do that will enable you to attain that success and that continuation of excellence in the service that you provide in the cleaning contracts that you have. So hopefully that all makes sense to you. And then that drives me on into what are the factors that drive success. And that is just by knowing what it is that you want to be first and foremost. It's like, if you wanted to go on a holiday, you don't just get up one day and do it. You might do, but it's not necessarily going to give you the best holiday. I found that the best holidays are the ones that you actually plan, so that when you are away at the destination that you've chosen, that you've done a little bit of research about where it is, what are the attractions about it, and you actually put a timetable in place and a tick box of things that you wanted to achieve whilst on that visit in your holiday. So you do a lot of planning. You see the end result, what you want to do, and then you backtrack and what do I need to do? What are the stepping stones that I need to have in place for me to enjoy that holiday? Because does the holiday cost money? Hell yes. But do you want to get the best return on the investment that you're making on that holiday? Absolutely. And the best way you can do it is to have the plan in place so that you're actually making the best use of your time when you're at the place of where it is. Imagine going to a holiday resort that's on an island and you forget to bring your swimming costume. What a waste of time. Don't do that. And you wouldn't do that. And I'm stating the obvious. Likewise in business, some of those obvious steps is that we want to be this rich person, but we don't do the steps that it requires in order to achieve that success. So there is no such thing as a shortcut in life. Everything is built upon the premise of doing something before, so that you're building these steps of success and growing your business in increments of revenue and increments of investment. So the more you invest in your business, the likelihood of you achieving more success is because you're investing back in what it is that you're doing. And these are all of the things that we've learned to do over 37 years and being in business. I'd like to say that we've got 37 years of mistakes that we don't want you to go down, because they are expensive. Mistakes are, but we've learned from them. And we've put a model together that will make you successful without a doubt. So there we are with what we are. I know that I've rushed through a lot of this stuff, but I didn't want to take up a lot of your valuable time. This is just a little bit of a discovery about who we are and what the commercial industry is about. There are going to be, if I've piqued a little bit of interest in any one of you, I'm sure you can get in contact with me directly. That number will be on the bottom of your screen right now, so that you can give us a call, and then we can have those one-on-one discussions. What we've done, though, and I've noticed that during the course of the time that I've been speaking, there's been a couple of queries that have popped up on the screens that I'm looking at now about questions, and we've sort of seen a couple of those. And if I can just ask Chloe, who's behind the scenes, you haven't seen her there, she's going to ask me a couple of questions that may help you in making that decision of wanting to speak to me one-on-one. So, Chloe, what were some of the questions that you've read?
The first question that came through was from Jonathan in Milton Keynes, and he's asked, how long does it take to get a business up and running, and what are the costs?
Okay. Good question, Jonathan. And, thank you very much for that. Yeah. Our cost, let me deal with the cost first. Simply put, we've got a initial franchise fee of £20,000. And you don't need to have any more costs of establishing, because you don't have to invest in a bricks and mortar lease or anything like that. You can operate this business from home. So that 20,000 is actually what you're paying for is the intellectual property of what we have. You get the operator's manual, you get all the forms, you get access to our very complete CRM system, which is the top to toe on how to run a successful franchise in commercial business, in commercial cleaning, sorry. And it covers from the initial onboarding of staff to the contracts that you win, to setting up shifts for them. It also then allows you to develop a profile of the profitability. Sorry, the profitability of each contract is worked and done on the site, on the CRM system that we have. And so the quotes come into the system, and it either is pending or won or lost. And you can then, click onto, if it was one, you click onto one, and then it goes into the financial section of our CRM, and it starts doing the automation of the invoicing for you on the financial side as well. All your costs of running your business are actually put into the system, from like running your car, petrol, the groceries that you want to buy yourself, to the teas and cakes, or whatever it is, the postal, the telephone, whatever all of those costs are, you feed that into the system as well, and it then starts to formulate a profit and loss of your business. And the revenue then is also built into that because of the invoicing that you're doing. So at a glance, when you meet with your accountant per quarter to do your VAT returns, it's all done and it's all in the system and everything's there. So it takes a lot of the pain of shuffling papers around, and everything's at a touch of a button and available. The other thing that the CRM system has is that it has a way of communicating to the client, on, like, if the client has seen anything that's happened during the day before you come in and do your clean. Like, let's say that Mary popped in and spilt her coffee over the meeting room carpet. You just put that as a support note into the system, and saying, just to let you know that Mary spilled coffee on the meeting room, can you please address that and make sure that it's clean, so that when the cleaner comes, they know that is going to be something that they need to deal with. So that's a neat little tool as well. Other things that the system has is got these QR code cards that you place in and around the position of where the cleaning is to be done, and the cleaner can then tag these as they go around and clean, so that at a glance you have real live information as to when a particular area in a contract is being cleaned and how regular, so that once again it gives you feedback to the client, where when the client comes in and says that the meeting room hasn't been cleaned for 3 months, you've actually got evidence that it has and it was done. So it helps you keep that relationship proactively in between you and the client, because sometimes clients can be a bit sneaky and wanting to find reasons not to pay you, and you've got the knowledge and a backup of a system that actually shows that you have done these cleans, and it keeps the relationship honest between you and the client. Okay, so how long does it take to get started from start to finish, from the initial inquiry? It depends on the person. Like, once you decide that it is something that you want to do, we get the contract signed, the payment is made, and then we set a time for you to come on franchise training with us, which is a week here in London. And then from there, we would recommend that you go away and study your market properly, and spend the time of a month or thereabouts to understand where it is that you'd like to start your marketing, and make up a plan. And then you and I would get together, or you and whoever you are that makes that decision, we'll get together and we'll map out a business plan based on your research. If you want us to go and get the contracts for you, there is a facility to do that. If you make an investment, we will guarantee to get you X amount of business in return of that investment, to help kickstart your business if you don't feel confident in going out and getting those sales yourself. So yeah, so from start to finish, once you sign the contract, it can be like 4 weeks. And then behind that whole scene, we'll be developing your website and making sure that everything's up in shape, so that we start getting those inbound leads coming your way as well. So yeah, that's the answer to was it Jonathan? I think you said yes. All right, Jonathan, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Ronan. We've got another question here with no name, and this is from Birmingham. They have asked, you've touched lightly on it, about marketing and how they would find clients. So you've mentioned the website. What else can our franchisees do?
Okay, so good question. Once again, Mr. Anonymous from Birmingham. So, yeah, marketing is, if I could understand which part of marketing works, like for every pound that's spent, half of it will work, half of it won't. It's not a science, but what I can say is the more people you talk to, the luckier you're going to be in business. So don't be a secret agent. Be out there. You've invested in a Ferrari. Be out there and drive it. You know, a Ferrari in a garage is a waste of time. You want to show off what it is that you've got. And so get out there and drive it, and meet with people. Start telling them what it is that you do. In fact, if you were to make a list of all the people that you knew, you've probably got about 100 of those that you, off the top of your head, that you could actually put out what I call a Dear Johnny letter and say, look, this is me. I've decided to, this is Mr. Anonymous from Birmingham. I've made the big step of setting up my own commercial cleaning business. I'd really like your help in maybe steering me towards someone that you think that may be in need of my services. And that's all you do is, and to those 100 people, you, because they know you and they trust you, hopefully they trust you, Mr. Anonymous from Birmingham, they will then give you names and addresses of quality leads, because they wouldn't give you rubbish leads. They're going to give you someone that they think that they know, or they think that will need your services. So just off that initial letter to the people that you know, there is real gold in that communication. Moving along from that, there's other things that we train you on while you're on course here, and that is to how to look at your immediate hinterland as a farm. And you know, like with any farm, if you throw seeds onto concrete, it's not going to grow. If you throw seeds into soil that is prepared, that is going to take hold, and it's going to take seed, and it's going to give you a better return on your efforts. So the first thing is to do in the techniques that we train you is to go out and understand, go out and do that data research, and go out and find out where the pockets of gold nuggets are, on where you think that you're going to get that return from, and then start communicating to them on a regular basis. And those are all of the things that we train you on how to do. What we do on our side is that we create the marketing collateral. If you've got a specific, say, marketing or business hub that you want to become the cleaning company of choice, then let us know, and we can design like an A5 leaflet that incorporates the look and feel of that particular business park with our branding on, and saying, you know, isn't it about time that we served you like the other neighbors in the business park? That sort of thing. There's a lot of activity that we do. We produce a lot of collateral. We have a marketing how-to brochure, or that is included in your franchise manual that you can refer to. So there's a myriad of things that we do in order to help you to be successful in marketing and getting those leads.
Thank you. And we have one last question from Sean in Wales. And Sean has asked about equipment. He says, does it come in the cost, and are we provided with it?
Okay. All right. It's Jonathan. No, that's not Jonathan.
Sean in Wales.
Jeez, my brain is going silly here.
It's quite busy.
I'm talking so fast here, so please apologize. So, Sean, part and parcel of your initial 20,000 fee, we will provide you with the setup or kickstart for three typical contracts that we'd have. And by typical, I mean it's around about 15 hours worth of work a week. Typically what that would entail would be a vacuum cleaner. It would be obviously the uniform of a staff member, because one staff member would basically be able to handle 3 hours worth of clean a day. And then it would be the chemicals that you would use to typically clean that office for a month. So it's a package that's put together. There'll be like a feather dusters. There'll be mops and buckets and whatever. So there's be enough to kickstart you with 3 typical contracts, and the uniforms that would go with that as well. So that's what is included in your initial setup pack with regard to equipment. A lot of people that I speak to over the years, or spoken to over the years, get a bit nervous about what is this equipment going to cost. Surely it's expensive. What I can say is, to put your mind at rest, is about 80% of our contracts involve Muppets, not Muppets. It involves buckets and mops, okay, and a vacuum cleaner, and it's no greater investment than that. The typical sort of vacuum cleaner that we would, the cost of that is around about 130 to 135 pounds, and that's robust enough, and it probably has a life of about 2 years, being sort of roughly handled by the cleaning operatives. Another thing to, if you take pride in what you own and train your staff to look after the equipment, it's a great saving and a discipline to instill in your business from day one, because then you don't have to waste money and get more life out of a typical piece of equipment like a vacuum cleaner. If you can get 4 years out of it as opposed to 2 because it's not handled and cleaned well, then more the power to you, because when you put your costing together, you're costing as if that piece of equipment is every year you're changing it, every year you're changing it, every year you're changing it. So the longer you keep a contract in, by definition, is that your contracts become more profitable because you're managing the costs better. So that hopefully answers your question, Sean. All right, so from my side, I'd like to thank you for sharing this time with me. I really hope that your transition from, being in the armed forces, thank you very much for your service, and moving it across to the civvy street where you can then be of service to clients out there. It is a safe industry to get into. Nothing's for free in life. The more effort you put into it, the more return you will get. That is a given. That's one of the principles of life, I suppose. And it is a recessionary-proof business. It's scalable, as I mentioned before. It's profitable. It's flexible. And that's the one last point I want to leave you with you. And that is that in other options in business, be it, say, a restaurant or a quick service restaurant, let's say the city council decides to change the routes of the roads. What is a prime position today can be a dud tomorrow, and yet you invest in the region of 150 to 500,000, depends on what your investment is and what you choose, in which quick service restaurant brand you want to go with. But it can run into being a dud site overnight because of, not that you're not doing anything right, it's because of a third party interference deciding that they want to change the direction of the road and bypass your location. With us in the commercial cleaning, if the market changes, like the pandemic that happened where industries closed and only essential businesses were open for trade, we just then moved from daily office cleaning to helping the critical industries. That was in logistics, where we were making a fortune out of fogging the cabs of lorries, because logistics took off like gangbusters and they wanted to keep their trucks on the road, but they would have to change drivers. And the only way that a driver would get into a cab was with, he felt assured that all of it was completely fogged and all of antiviral conditions were taken care of, and it kept those businesses on the road. And so we are flexible. We move to wherever it is that the business moves to. So once again, it's a great business to be involved with, and I'm hoping to hear from a few of you that have bothered to listen to me go on and for a while. We've got our own chemicals here, as you can see. You don't have to think about what to do. All you have to do is do what you're meant to do, and you will be successful. So for me and the team at Total Clean, we're looking forward to hopefully being in partnership together in the near future. So adios and enjoy your day.